It's time for another State of the Pod. This time, our 1-year anniversary. Let's hear about us some more.
Let's hear about us. I like that. The Christian Principles Podcast is brought to you in partnership with the Herzog Foundation. But bear in mind, the views and opinions expressed here are those of the hosts and not necessarily of the Herzog Foundation. Welcome to the Christian Principles Podcast. I'm Matt George.
I'm Mark Zockoll. Today, we are on State of the Pod number 4. State of the Pod number 4. 1-year anniversary. We are pumped to be talking to you today, having come where we've come from, having accomplished what's been accomplished to the praise of His name, to the praise and the glory of His name.
Crazy.
What a blessing to talk to you today about where we are. Just some numbers to run through with you all. We have had 8,000 plus plays on Apple.
You know, 8,000.
Spotify says 7,500 plus. I don't understand how. Well, I do understand because the definitions aren't the same. It's not apples to apples comparison, but it's still really interesting that one of these says, "Oh, you've downloaded and played to some point 8,000 times." The other one says, and that's just for one platform. The other platform says, "Oh no, it's far fewer than that on all your platforms." So somewhere in there is the truth. And that's a blessing, though. 8,000 plus plays. Matt, could you imagine that your thoughts would have been heard by that many consistent listeners and followers?
I mean, let's be honest. It's a little short. I expect more people to be interested in what I have to say, but no, just kidding. But I am thankful that my mom, has downloaded and listened to this, at least 2,000 times. So.
We see those memes of those like child workers somewhere that have 50 screens in front of them, and they're using one of those arms that will, when you do a motion on one, it'll do a motion on the phone across from it. So just like tapping things all day to get more
that's
like
what our moms do.
That's what's happening. That's what's happening. Teresa, man, that's exciting.
It's cool.
Today is the 125th episode, and we're recording this the same week it'll be coming out, so it is as fresh as possible. We have 141 Apple followers, 103 Spotify followers. We have 51 YouTube subscribers. We have put out 370 videos on YouTube. Those would be our actual podcast and then the shorts that go along with them. We've had 31 different guests come on the show. We will talk about them in a little bit. That's really exciting. 110 different people streamed any of our episodes for 60 plus seconds or downloaded one of them within an average viewing time, which again, statistics on these, it's difficult for me to even understand what they try to make easy to understand in some of those definitions. But apparently when we put out an episode, Spotify says that 63 streams or downloads of it will happen within the first week, and 110 different people will stream it at some point, which that's great. That's exciting. Beyond that, there's just what is the intrinsic value of having the podcast, which would be holding a conversation with you, good sir, Matthew George, having a conversation with you about things that we as Christian school, you as a Christian school leader deal with day by day, moment by moment.
What we deal with and what we're passionate about. Like at the end of the day, like we care. Mm-hmm. It's not just we're dealing with it and here you go, I'll throw it out there. But we enjoy talking about these things, as weird as that may be.
As a Christian education professional, which is what I've decided to call myself, and
nice.
For as long as I'm doing this hybrid thing that I'm doing, this path God has me on, you said it well. I'm passionate about it. I want to see Christian education just explode. Yeah. Before we got on this phone call, I was speaking with a future guest, Miss Candy Barnes of Accomat Christian Academy. And we've talked about, we actually shouted her out in a recent episode, but she'll be coming on as a guest. And we were just talking through where her schools come from, how they're growing, what they're doing, where they're advertising, what they're excited about. And this is exciting. It was great to talk to her. And it's fun to hear what other Christian schools are doing in this time when Christian schools there's a lot going on all around us that are
Mm-hmm.
really promoting Christian schools to the public in such a way as they haven't been for quite a long time. So as far as stats, we won't go through many more stats with you. We wanted to jump into, though, an inbox review. We haven't done one of those in a little bit, and there are quite a few things for us to cover. First off, we should get serious, though. We have a very dear friend, principal friend, Ms. Lori Koblentz, who has been a part of our lives now
Mm-hmm.
personally for some time. Matt, do you want to share a little bit what's going on with Lori and how we can pray for her?
Yeah. So Lori has just recently been diagnosed with lymphoma,
Mm.
with cancer, and it's pretty aggressive. And she's been just starting chemo treatments. And she's a Christian school principal. We had her on the podcast talking about homeschoolers, but she was not feeling very well back in the spring. She actually came to our school to be a part of the accreditation
Yeah,
team,
yeah, absolutely.
and was even just talking through, just some of the discomfort that she was having and not sure what it was. Getting to the doctor and figuring out it was this cancer, and she's starting her treatments. She'll be doing those treatments for a while. But it's, I think, December 11th, I think, is when she's supposed to finish her treatments. But she just gave us an update not too long ago that she's been rather tired. It's taking a toll on her.
Mm.
She's one of those, she wants to be working. She wants to be a part of getting school up and running. But this is kind of keeping her down, and she doesn't like that.
Mm. So yeah,
And of course, the typical byproduct of chemo treatments, as you might expect, losing hair and all of those things. So we just need to be praying for Lori that God gives her strength through these treatments, that the treatments will do the job, that she can stay as connected with Frederick Christian Academy as much as I know she wants to, but
Mm.
at least as much as she can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also think about the different administrators around us who might be switching roles this year. There's a very dear friend to Christian education in Maryland, Mr. Keith Wilson, who has had a very interesting walk in his administrative life and now finds himself switching roles yet again. And so we can remember those around us, and those who are listening, who you're starting a new gig, or this is the second year after a serious change in the school, or the school's mission got realigned, or there was a step up, there was a move over, there was something which occurred in your professional life which has drawn you to the school you're at, or which has furthered you where you are. So lots to pray for concerning our brethren and our sistren in their professional roles. So we do want to make a time to to talk about those more serious things before we go into some of the lighthearted nonsense that we have coming up, such as a while back we had the series on sex education in Christian schools, and then we talked about couples, and in both conversations my wife Andrea got some play in how it was that she supported the conversations that had in the school, and then how we were a couple in high school. And she reminded me of something. She texted me while listening to the podcast, which she doesn't often do, but when I say, hey, you should listen to this one, she might take a moment to do it, maybe. But she reminded me, and then she reminded Jenny and Matt about how I used to say things to her in high school, such as, for all I know love to be, I love you, as opposed to just saying I love you. I would sign cards with LOMYAL, so love of my young adult life, and she put up with it. For some reason, she put up with it. It was my best. I remember this when she brought it up. I remembered back to these were my best intentions to try to be a good rule follower and try to be one who was doing what was expected, because you're supposed to go off to you were supposed to go off to college and find your love of your life there or whatnot. So I didn't want to give away all my I love yous to somebody who wasn't necessarily that person's.
I think
A
that's
crazy
smart.
time.
Yeah.
I mean, it
She's
was
just,
what I'm
it's
surprised
just
she put up
now
with it.
she's like, well, I guess, I'm getting her old adult life now
Yeah,
too.
yeah. She got some of that one just for a year or not, and then all the rest of it. So that's good. We also got we also were there are certain people who we see on a more weekly basis who listen to us, and they had some just informal comments to us. So there are a couple Eds in our lives, and both of the Eds in our lives mentioned to us that they've appreciated the podcast, and even hearing maybe Matt and myself grow in our speaking, which I'm surprised by that. I've been speaking in front of people for a long time, and so has Matt. So I don't think I've arrived, but I definitely hadn't thought about me being behind this microphone as something that would be stretching or growing for me professionally in that way or in skills in that way. So that's interesting. Maybe it has, maybe it's not. I feel, even right now, I feel like I'm jumbled through, even though we've prepared and I have a big list to work through. I feel like I could have done something else to be more prepared for today. So
when you turn this camera on and this microphone is sitting in front of me, this is way harder to put thoughts together and communicate clearly than it is to get up in front of a crowd of 100 people or whatever and just talk.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, this is more challenging.
I hear you. We got some notes from another listener. We've enjoyed listening to the podcast as we've traveled this summer, so that's kind. That was nice to hear. But then we also got recognized by our alma mater. Matt, you want to tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah. So our alma mater has an alumni social media page, and for whatever reason they picked my name out of a hat or something. My wife and I, and we're shouting us out, and connected the dots that Mark and I had started this podcast. So shout out to our alumni, and I'm sure we picked up many listeners because of that. But it was cool to see in the comments some of our fellow whatever they're called, alumni, were listeners. Yeah, we're listening in. So that was cool.
I talked about the Eds talking to Matt and I about their appreciation for what we've done, but we had a specific reach out from Mr. Ed Isaacs. Mr. Ed Isaacs is a man of the word, and he's he would hope to be a man of the word of the scriptures, but he's also just a literary connoisseur. And he reminded me that in episode 117, I noted that it was funny that Christopher, now Pastor Zockoll, would talk about bunny trails.
Oh yeah.
When I had referred to them as rabbit trails. But then...
As most people do.
Right, as most people do. But Mr. Ed here reminded me that I should remember, as he says, the bunny trail entered popular consciousness a year before he was born, when Gene Autry... Matt, you know that Gene Autry, don't you?
Yeah.
Matt likes that Gene Autry. He's saying, here comes Peter Cottontail hopping down the bunny trail. That doesn't explain its place, and then Ed goes on to say, that doesn't explain its place in Pastor Yoko's vocabulary, I guess, but it might have started there. So that could well be it.
Very kind.
He's very kind.
I responded to Ed as every time that Christopher says that song starts going in my head. So yeah, it's actually right.
we had a couple of comments on our YouTube pages, so our YouTube videos, and one was from Humble Beginnings 1986, and it was, Jimmy is the man. Thanks for having him on the show. Now, what's interesting is this came way after we published our recorded episode with Jimmy Fit out there in Maui. I know they already started their school year up even already, and so Jimmy and Levi, good luck on the school year upcoming. Praying for you, we're thinking about you, and whoever Humble Beginnings 1986 is, they know you, and they were happy to have you on, and we're blessed by you being on the show, Jimmy. So that's great. Matt, could you read for us though, Mr. David Craig Warren's comment to me on my attire?
Yeah. I mean, it's I've been waiting for comments on your attire, but yeah, David finally had the guts, I guess. He said he reminds Mark, hey Mark, you forgot your sleeves. and then he said, I can't wear those shirts without a concealed weapons permit because of my guns.
Because of his guns. And then he had, I think, one of his teachers go off and make fun of him for actually claiming that he had the guns.
To have guns.
I has guns. Yeah. He got told off by his teacher. But this was, once again, I was able to stop in front of a Christian school and take a selfie and post on the Facebook page. So if you haven't seen our Facebook or Instagram pages, go on there and you'll see a couple of times me doing that. And I just so happened to be walking with my family, and I was in a tank top like I am now because it's the summertime. And I took the picture as I was. There in my natural setting. And so David made sure to comment on that, being up there as a Michigan boy. I do want to bring up another YouTube. There is a YouTube comment conversation that we're going to talk about now and then have a further show on. But Maisie and Jake, 2514. This is in response to our short, which was Phones Are Bad for Kids, which was just making sure that everybody saw that the legislators were noting that what we've noted for a long time is true. He said, they are bad for kids, but laws banning phone usage is unconstitutional. It is a free market product that states have no right to ban because the people want them. 10th Amendment. Priority is always people, carrot, people over state, over federal government. The issue is a moral and parenting issue. Begging overlords for regulation will solve nothing. And so then the response was interesting. Similar argument for other issues, trying to, prod the conversation, to which Maisie and Jake said at Christian Principles Podcast, almost all, if it doesn't pass the unconstitutional and biblical and Bible sniff test, which, Matt, do you ever have a Bible sniff test? I thought that was a great way of saying it. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, does this pass the biblical sniff test? I don't want it. Take a look at Representative Thomas Massey's views of Kentucky. Read A Dialogue in Hell between Montesquieu and Machiavelli. This isn't me saying, read this book, get on my playing field or something. I genuinely want Americans to understand their rights and why they exist. To which we said, thanks. We'll have to dive into our thoughts here on an upcoming episode, which we will do. We will take some time to... I'm not sure if I can read those books that you want me to read, or it's probably not a book, it's probably more of like an essay or something. But we'll take our time to work through them. But Matt, do you have any quick thoughts on Maisie and Jake?
Whenever we talk, or the politicians do talk about just the word ban, something is banned. I do understand there have been so many societies, cultures that, controlling people never turns out well.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I understand that. When you're dealing with a controlled environment, though, as perhaps education is, I would not want to send my children to an uncontrolled school, if that makes sense. Sure. If it's controlled by the parents who, yes, absolutely 100% agree, they have their rights. I understand children also have their rights. But as I always remind my families, attending our school is a privilege. It's not a right. Mm-hmm. So that's probably where I would start entering into a discussion of agreeing to disagree on this one, because there is a slight change that I think needs to be explored. And yeah, I'd love to explore it more, but that's my gut reaction.
Yeah. And that's, and again, interesting when I'd say conservatively, we tend to be, less governmenty, more individual liberty. So, we'll talk about this some more. We did have a comment from Dr. Hobbs, which looks like Dr. L.J. Hobbs, but actually that's just the first name, middle initial of our good friends, Dave and Linda Hobbs. And they said Lancaster County Christian has an outstanding program, and they were referencing episode 118's entrepreneurship discussion that we had with faith-driven entrepreneurship for teens there, and Dana, who came and spoke with us from faith-driven entrepreneurship. We did want to go back, and there is a longer comment from the inbox that's been sitting here for a while, but it's from one of our steady listeners. So let's work through this one now. While listening to your servant leadership pod, I was also painting. So if you remember back, we had a time when we were doing some lavalier microphone work and recording from a painting of a classroom, and we were talking about servant leadership and when does it go too far? When does it? Is painting appropriate for an administrator and other? I don't want to say menial, but other perhaps not as high up the pay scale tasks as that one would be. And so I'll let Matt work through the numbers, but I'll read his intro here. While listening to your servant leadership pod, I was also painting. Awesome. I had promised my school secretary that we would paint and refloor her office, getting rid of the sage green walls my son had painted 15 years ago in junior high. How many of you, by the way, have like faculty staff kids help you out with that sort of thing and pay them for summer jobs? Great idea. if you have that, or if you don't have a professional team that comes in because you have that kind of space and that kind of budget. It was hilarious to pull up YouTube this evening and skim through the podcast to watch you guys multitasking, because we did record on our phones, so that was great. So Matt, what were some of his points?
Yeah. So when it comes to the points we were making in the episode, he said, I agree with many of your points. Here's his 2 cents worth. First of all, in the summer, since I'm on salary and already getting paid, if I can do some tasks like painting, reorganizing a storage area, decluttering the attic, why mention that one, etc., then we're actually saving money. And that's part of the way I think of it too. You know, I'm being paid to do something, and not like I can't find something else to do, but if we can save it from somebody else having to do it, yeah, let's do it. Second thing he said, I had an assistant pastor friend who loved to do manual labor projects, like mopping the lunchroom once a week, because he could see his progress. I think we even mentioned that a little bit in the episode, after his labor, which was rewarding, as opposed to working with people, counseling, etc., all day.
As opposed to working with people.
We don't want to work with people.
Garbage.
Can't see a progress with people.
I do like to mow grass for that reason. Right now, my mower
it's very satisfying.
My mower is down right now. We need to pray for it.
Oh, poor mower.
Yeah, it's not.
I'd offer you mine, but you don't. It would take you 2 years to do it. So yeah, no, there are those people that, you know, it looks like it's more work for them, but it's actually a relief. It's like, this is letting me relax a little bit. And I get that sometimes with painting. Sometimes I get more frustrated. But his third thing he said, I like the change of pace in the summer, feeling of accomplishment, getting tasks done, kind of similar to that one. Fourth, I need to prioritize to make sure more important principal tasks are not being neglected. That's where you got to be careful.
Yeah, that's the key. That's definitely the key right there.
Yeah, if you're, it's like, I know this is more important, but I don't want to do that job. I'm going to go do something else. I think I still have this book on my desk, Eat That Frog. I just keep it on there to remind myself, don't put it off. Get that job done first. The most important one done first. 5, I try to involve a teen or two to help, which I did last Thursday for most of the painting, and then took him to lunch, which gave me a great opportunity to build a relationship with him. So, yeah, that is a great opportunity. Get others involved, even if it's not a teen, maybe a teacher that doesn't come in often, or even a parent would be another great option. And then the last thing, manual labor projects give me a chance to listen to podcasts like CPP.
Yes.
Or audiobooks while I work.
Nope.
We don't need those audiobooks. We're providing enough content. We'll get you through the project. Stick with us.
Stay with us.
Yeah.
But he was listening to Mike Pence's "So Help Me God" autobiography, which he says is good. So that's great. Hey man, and not only to this most recent reading, but also to the others who offer us insight. Thank you so much for talking to us and helping build this community. And we want to
appreciate it.
We want to honor you with those inbox reviews. We do want to also take a moment to talk through the different partners, guests, sponsors, even tangentially related people and organizations that have worked with us so far. So we start out with Zockoll HR. Zockoll HR has this isn't the best commercial, the best job, because Zockoll HR has hung up its taken down its shingle, so to speak.
Yeah, it's.
And there might be
rip. We'll just rip Zockoll HR.
Rip Zockoll HR. But the first
gave it a go.
Only the first, and then as he was speaking about, as the owner of Zockoll HR, our friend and partner Matthew was speaking about, he talked a lot about LinkedIn and Indeed, but that brought us quickly to ODAX. They were our first cross-brand post outside of our sponsor. So ODAX posted about us early on. Thank you, Dan Zacharias and the Old Dominion Association of Christian Schools. And then we had AACS. We've talked a lot about AACS and ACSI, and I continue to come into more contact now that I'm actually looking for them with other slightly smaller Christian school organizations around the United States of America. There is one that is the Oral Roberts Education Association. It's very very uniquely tied to that alumni group. And then but there's enough that it's a bunch of schools and they do conferences together. There's Schools United down in. I'm not going to be able to name them all right now. And there's also the classical school organizations. There are classical Christian school organizations. There's an Adventist school organization. There's more of them than I was finding. But we do talk about AACS a lot. James Rabe and his cybersecurity came on as a guest. KCEA, we're going to be offering at least one workshop at KCEA this year as a podcast team, and we're pumped about that, as well as hopefully having an exhibitors table there. Ed Choice was one of the early on readings and reviews, which we did one of their reports. Summit Ministries, I want to park on Summit Ministries just for a second. We've talked not only recently about a Bible curriculum change which occurred, but also Summit Ministries was with Dr. Roger Erdvig, who will be speaking at Schools United as a keynote speaker this year down in Florida. He was so kind as to be one of our very first guests on the pod. And I just think about how many thousands of people has read his books and have interacted with him in some way, and he came on and spoke with us, and what a blessing it was, talking about school boards. The Global Leadership Summit, Dr. Stephen asked us if we'd like to come and be a part of it. I was away we were away on vacation. We were not able to make it to the Global Leadership Summit remote location at Salisbury Christian School, though we were invited. We did make an opportunity available for those around us through the podcast even to go and to be at SCS, so that might be something we're able to do in the future if they continue on having that Global Leadership Summit opportunity there.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about the Maryland Association of Christian Schools, MACS, that our school is a part of, but we have a lot of our early shout-outs went to MACS school leaders. We went through the accreditation process that was through them as well. Being a part of that, our admin retreat, where we were able to host the administrators retreat through the podcast.
And then they brought me on. They brought me on.
And then, for whatever reason, we figured that Mark was, needed some more things to do at the end of the day.
Didn't do enough stuff. So I'm going to come on as the operations assistant. But
I will say, I don't know if I shared this with you, though, but when we had the board meeting discussing that, I had to give approval that it didn't take away. And I said, as long as it doesn't take away from CPP responsibilities.
That's true.
Then I give my blessing.
And hopefully it has it. But Matt, you had to give me, once again, Matt comes in as the boss man, because Matt has to, in his board status, he had to give me the opportunity for that position.
True. That's true.
So thank you. I don't know if that's even, that's probably some kind of unethical issue, isn't it? That's probably like an issue.
Probably is.
Anyway.
It would not be very good for us to also mention all the different platforms that we have used to be able to get our podcast out there. So big thanks, to Spotify, to Apple Podcasts, and now very much into YouTube. So those are awesome. And I'm sure there's other platforms that you find us on, but those are the big three. The Herzog Foundation. Where do we start?
We could keep going on this one for a long time, which means we shouldn't. But But for Elizabeth Rogers, the director of communication for the Herzog Foundation, thank you. We don't deserve your love.
No. But awesome. And not only they're sponsoring the podcast, but everything that they offer Christian education. You hear our ads for them, but you got to take advantage of what Herzog is offering. It's amazing. This episode is brought to you by our partners at the Herzog Foundation, whose mission aligns beautifully with ours to advance and support Christ-centered education. The Herzog Foundation exists to catalyze excellence in Christian schools, helping more children experience academic rigor, biblical truth, and strong moral character, all in a safe and nurturing environment. Whether through teacher training, principal development, or strategic media efforts, the Herzog Foundation is committed to helping you, the Christian school leader, fulfill your calling with excellence. Their vision is bold but clear, a national renaissance in Christian education that impacts culture for generations. At the Christian Principles Podcast, we're proud to stand with the Herzog Foundation in that mission. Learn more at herzogfoundation.com. Together, We're building schools and futures on the rock of Christ. And as always, tell them that the fellas here at the Christian Principles Podcast sent you their way.
We are so excited for our fall retreat. It's not retreat. Our fall 2-hour drive over to DC to have the professional development there. Matt and I are excited for that.
Yeah.
I just saw Jessica Polmeyer at Seaside Christian Academy. She and another one of their leaders were at the Herzog Foundation training there at the Museum of the Bible in DC again. So we continue to see people taking advantage of these opportunities, and you should too. Make sure you do too.
Yeah. We mentioned Ed Choice, but others, American Federation of Children, National School Choice Awareness Foundation, we've referenced them throughout the time. Camps, we've referenced a lot of camps. Mark and I had the privilege of working at the Wilds. Mark's worked at Camp Calvary. We've also used Camp Pacomath as teacher retreats and student retreats, all those different kind of things. Camp is a big part of what we do. I'm sure we're going to talk more about camps in the future too. Along with camps, colleges, and I don't even know if we should start listing Christian colleges, but there's a lot of them. We talked about college tours, we talked about college preparation, so very, very important. We had great conversations with Jim McKenzie, and I think we already mentioned Roger Erdvig, but sitting down and talking with those two, I think apart from all of our other guests.
Yeah,
I was like, "What am I doing? I don't deserve to be in this conversation. This is amazing." I know for Jim's especially, I have my notes still just writing down. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. And for Rogers, our necks were about to fall apart because we were agreeing with so much. But
yes.
That was awesome.
Those gentlemen were so kind to come on and to offer themselves as future contacts. Can't wait. Can't wait to come on, and with Mark Minkus as well. Once again, just
Mark Minkus. There's a lot of guests. So many that I have loved listening to, talking to. Even Dr. Shannon Juris, who constantly comes up to. She'll text me as soon as we're done recording. Oh, that was awful. I'm so sorry. I was like, no, it wasn't. It was good.
Time.
You're great. So yeah, it was. I have loved it. I've loved every bit of it.
Mr. Tony Barman helped us with our redesign. Herzog Foundation put us in contact with him, but he helped us with a redesign. So if you need a redesign on your logo, your branding, things like that for your Christian school or just for whatever your personal brand is, TonyBarmanDesign.com. We had Leslie Nichols, who is the principal of Calvary Baptist School in Lansdale, Pennsylvania, talk about foreign mission trips. And Madison Carr of Creative Chameleon Studios came on, and we had that collab podcast back and forth with her. We talked to so many. We talked about Entourage. I actually reached out to Entourage the other week on my way back down Langford Highway or up Langford Highway to Salisbury from where I was in North Carolina. And I called them. I could not get through to an actual person. Isn't that frustrating?
That is frustrating.
It's frustrating not to be able to talk to a person. But Entourage in their yearbooks, we want to bring them on. Dana Rofer, so many others. Matt, we got to wrap this. We gotta be done with this. We've talked about it
so good. It's been a full year. We'll just say that we've gotten a lot done. My wife continues to say, "Is it really? Are you guys going to be able to sustain 2 episodes a week?" There have been times maybe where we're like, maybe we won't, but I feel like it's been good because it keeps it all fresh.
We've been absolutely blessed to be able to do it. It's not that I didn't think that we would not be able to do it. I just didn't have the thought that we wouldn't do it. That's so hard to say. Let me back that up. Too many negatives. I thought if we put this goal out to ourselves to set up 2 episodes a week, that you and I would make it happen. Come heck or high water, we make it happen, I mean, I really do think that that's more so been the mindset of, well, it's going to occur if we have to stay up late or get up early or something, or just squeeze it in sometime. It's going to happen. But I have found it to be a blessing, to be a professional and personal blessing. Thank you for saying you have. You don't have to say that, but I'm glad you did.
No,
say
I
that.
do. I do. I think if we had limited ourselves to one episode a week, we may have given up.
Isn't that
quickly.
funny to say though? Yeah,
I think it is, just because we would be like, oh, I don't have time, or we'd have some excuse. But not that it's not that I feel like it's pressure to get 2 out, except for whenever we we do kind of take a little bit of a break, and they're like, "Oh man, we need to get moving." But I've enjoyed it,
You know,
100%.
I'd also say it's interesting that it's the summertime that's more difficult to actually keep up with this.
Absolutely.
And in so much that we have seen our numbers not grow as much in the summertime as they did in the school year, I think that probably evidence is the same for our community, that in the summertime they really are just going to be unplugging from a lot of different things and not searching out those opportunities like they in the school time when they're making that consistent drive. They are working their way through whatever it is they're working their way through much more consistently, much more in a scheduled manner. That's probably going to be where we all live in that comfort zone, and we found that out in this first year in. So next year, we won't expect you all to do a whole lot of work over the summertime. We'll take a hiatus in the summertime. No, we won't. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that. What are we looking forward to? We're looking forward to opportunities to be with you face to face. If you would like to come and go to the ODAX convention, the Old Dominion Association of Christian Schools Educators Convention, the Keystone Christian Educators Convention, Keystone Christian Educators Association Convention, to the Mid-Atlantic Christian School Association's convention, be it in Lancaster or the one in Nutley, New Jersey, which apparently is right outside New York City, which I did not know that before, but now I do, like literally right over the bridge. There is so much happening, so much going on for us in the exciting fall. Please help us. Please. We are asking you very pointedly to write us a review on Apple Podcasts, 15 words or more. Please give us 5-star reviews on Spotify. And then pass us on to a peer. Please share us on your social media. Get on YouTube and find a short you like and send it out. Take one of our episodes and send it out to a peer purposefully. That would help us so much. Tell somebody else about us who happens to be in the Christian school professional realm, and we would be so thankful for it.
Yeah. All right. It is that time of the episode where we've got somebody to shout out.
I'm sad that this one's over, though. Like, we've talked for a long time, but I am sad this one's over. Just to say that.
I'm looking forward to 5. I'm looking for State of the Pod 5. It feels like, that's a little bit, it's a nice number. It's a full hand. So, I'm looking forward to that.
Year number 2. All right.
Well, hopefully we'll have them before year 2. But,
well, yeah. Well, that's true, yeah.
But yeah, we're on to the second season.
Yeah, 4 more States of the Pods, yeah. All right. You were
shouting out. We're shouting out an administrator, which we're always excited to shout out.
Mm-hmm.
But this episode, we're shouting out Sarah Singleton of Crossroads Christian School in Corona, California.
Sarah Singleton, Crossroads Christian School. I'm going to pray for you now, principal out there in Crossroads, California. Again, this in Corona, California, but from Crossroads Christian Schools. Again, this comes to us from that loose conglomeration, loose association of Christian schools that meets together. And it's funny because their loose association of Christian schools has like 20 or 30 different schools in it, or at least, schools in it, which are larger than some of the state associations that we know out there. So this loose conglomeration, great job in what you do. Well, let's pray for Sarah. Father, I thank you so much for bringing us to 1 year of the Christian Principles Podcast, and we do this for your glory as you have enabled us. We do this for the benefit of those around us. We do this for ourselves to some extent, and so much that we are able to grow and to have these conversations, to grow in fellowship and love together. Lord, might we encourage Sarah? Might we encourage others like Sarah in this time, in so much that they are starting their school years, they're getting back into the groove, they're getting back into their schedule. May she be able to overcome the obstacles sitting in front of her. May she be excited about the opportunities that she created for the school, or her team created for the school to step into. All that would entail, might it be done for your honor and glory. We thank you for it. Amen.
Amen.
All right. This has been a long one, but it's been a long one, but it's been a good one. Thank you for sticking with us, and thanks for growing with us today.
Before you go, please be sure to hit that follow button on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, on Spotify, be sure to tap the star icon near the top and select the number of stars you'd like to give us. We'd be so grateful for 5. On Apple Podcasts, scroll down to the ratings and review section and then tap write a review to share your thoughts of the podcast. Thank you.